myth of El Dorado has captured the imagination of explorers, treasure hunters, and scholars for centuries. It is a legend born from the early European encounters with indigenous cultures in South America, particularly in the Andes region, and it revolves around the idea of a city or kingdom rich in gold beyond belief. At the heart of this myth is the figure of the Golden Chief, a king or ruler whose wealth and power were so vast that they became the stuff of legend. Origins of the El Dorado myth. The legend of El Dorado first surfaced in the early 16th century during the Spanish conquest of the Americas. It originated not from a city, but from a ceremonial practice among the indigenous Muisca people of Colombia. The Spanish heard tales of a Muisca king who would cover himself in gold dust during a ritual, then wash it off in Lake Guatavita. This practice led to the name El Dorado, which means the gilded one, or the golden one. The Muisca people, one of the major civilizations in pre-Columbian Colombia, had no gold mines of their own, but they traded for gold and used it extensively in religious and cultural rituals. For the Muisca, gold was not a sign of wealth, but a sacred material used to honor their gods. The Spanish, however, interpreted the stories of this golden ritual as proof of vast wealth hidden somewhere in the region. Evolution of the legend. As European explorers spread the story, El Dorado evolved from a person into a place, a fabled city made entirely of gold. This transformation was driven by the colonial mindset of the Spanish and other Europeans, who believed that the Americas were filled with unimaginable riches just waiting to be discovered. In the mid-1500s, explorers like Gonzalo Pizarro and Francisco de Orellana led expeditions deep into the South American interior in search of El Dorado. Pizarro, a brother of the famous conqueror of the Inca Empire, ventured into the Amazon basin only to return empty-handed and in disarray. Orellana, on the other hand, became the first European to navigate the entire length of the Amazon River, though he too never found the fabled city. The myth persisted and grew, with each new failure only adding to its allure. El Dorado became synonymous with the hope of discovery, the dream of endless riches, and the promise of glory. By the late 16th century, it had become a central part of the European imagination, fueling not only explorations but also art, literature, and politics. The Golden Chief, ritual and reality. The true story behind the Golden Chief lies in the Muisca's religious practices. The Muisca lived in the highlands of present-day Colombia, and their economy and culture were based around agriculture, trade, and the production of beautiful gold artifacts, primarily for ceremonial purposes. The figure of the Golden Chief was central to their most sacred rituals. The new leader, or Zipa, of the Muisca would be taken to Lake Guatavita for an initiation ceremony. There he would strip naked and be covered head to toe in gold dust. He would then board a raft, along with priests and offerings of gold and emeralds, and paddle out to the center of the lake. As the people watched from the shores, the Zipa would dive into the water, washing off the gold while the priests cast offerings into the lake as tributes to their gods. This act symbolized the new leader's dedication to his people and the divine forces that governed their world. For the Muisca, this ritual was about more than wealth. It was a demonstration of their connection to the spiritual world and their reverence for gold as a material representing purity and power. Yet in the eyes of the European explorers, it was a tantalizing glimpse of the material riches they were so desperate to find. Lake Guatavita, a false lead. The legend of the Golden Chief led many explorers to Lake Guatavita, hoping to recover the gold that had supposedly been thrown into its depths. Over the centuries, there were multiple attempts to drain or dredge the lake in search of these treasures. In 1545, Hernán Pérez de Quesada, a Spanish conquistador, made the first recorded attempt to drain Lake Guatavita. Though some gold pieces were found, the effort was largely unsuccessful. Later, in 1580, Antonio de Sepulveda tried again, employing more sophisticated techniques to drain the lake partially. This attempt, too, failed to yield the enormous wealth that was expected, though it did recover some valuable artifacts. In the early 20th century, British companies attempted one final large-scale draining of the lake, but this too ended in failure, with few treasures found and the lake's environment severely damaged. The difficulty of recovering gold from Lake Guatavita only deepened the mystery of El Dorado, as each failure reinforced the idea that the real treasure lay elsewhere. The broader search for El Dorado. While the Golden Chief of the Muisca was the original inspiration for the El Dorado myth, over time, the search expanded far beyond Colombia. Explorers began searching for golden cities in the Amazon, the Orinoco River basin, and even as far as the southeastern United States. The legendary city of Manoa, another version of the El Dorado myth, was said to be hidden somewhere in the heart of the Amazon, leading to countless expeditions. Sir Walter Raleigh, the English adventurer, became one of the most famous seekers of El Dorado. In 1595, he led an expedition to the Orinoco River in present-day Venezuela, convinced that he would find the Golden City. Raleigh's writings about his voyage, filled with fantastical descriptions of the wealth he expected to discover, fueled European fascination with El Dorado for generations. Although Raleigh never found the city, his accounts cemented the myth in the European imagination. El Dorado, myth and reality. The story of El Dorado is not just a tale of treasure hunting. It's a reflection of the collision between two worlds, the indigenous cultures of the Americas and the European invaders. For the Muisca, gold was a spiritual substance, integral to their rituals and their relationship with the gods. For the Spanish and other Europeans, it was a material to be exploited, a symbol of power and the key to wealth. As a legend, El Dorado speaks to the human tendency to dream of hidden wealth and uncharted lands, the hope that somewhere there is a place where all desires can be fulfilled. The countless expeditions, failures, and unrelenting pursuit of this myth reveal more about the nature of European ambition than the reality of indigenous societies in South America. In the end, the myth of El Dorado was not just about gold. It was about the allure of the unknown, the desire to conquer and possess the Earth's hidden wonders. Although no golden city was ever found, the legend of the Golden Chief continues to capture the imagination of those who seek to uncover the mysteries of the past.